Hello, everyone. Welcome to Auntie Derek's Daytime Tea. Today is Thursday, May 8th, and if you notice, I have the correct date from the beginning, so I just feel so accomplished. Yay! But hello, everyone, to my sexy co host, Chill, and my
Hi,
favorite Taurus, Will. Hello.
hi everybody. I'm Auntie because that's what I do.
Damn right. The chilliest chill of all time.
Yes, sir.
And shout out to the listeners as well, and those in my favorite in the chat, Hammy. So we're going to go ahead and get started with some May Mayhem. And today we're gonna, like we started the series at the beginning of the month to honor people who, like Chill says, make good trouble. So we want to honor somebody who's made good trouble in our hometown, my hometown of Durham, North Carolina. And I just want to kind of give this girl some accolades here because she's been doing her thing for years now, and it doesn't seem like she's gonna stop anytime soon. But I'm sharing a Wikipedia page for April Parker Jones, an actress, honey, and a Durham native. So April Parker Jones, born March 6th of 1976, and chill, she's a Pisces. Ow. She's an
Yes,
American
ma'am.
television actress, best known for her roles as Darcy Hawkins in the CBS post-apocalyptic drama series Jericho from 2006 to 2008, and as Natalie Henning in the Oprah Winfrey Network primetime soap opera Is Loving You Is Wrong, and she was in that from 2014 to 2020. In 2018, she starred in the CW superhero series Supergirl as Colonel Lauren Haley. So Parker was born in Durham, North Carolina, and attended North Carolina Central University before moving to New York. Shout out to Central, my fellow Eagles. After guest starring, after a guest starring role in CSI Miami in 2006, she won the series regular role of Darcy Hawkins in the CBS series Jericho. The series was canceled after 2 seasons, and Parker Jones later appeared on Lost, The Unit, NCIS, Scandal, and had recurring roles in 90210 and The Fosters. In 2014, Parker Jones was cast as one of the leads in Oprah Winfrey's network primetime soap opera Is Loving You Is Wrong. She plays the role of Natalie Henning, the single working mother. The series also stars Edwina Findlay, Zulay Hanayo, Heather Hemmings, and Amanda Clayton. In 2015, she also had the recurring role as Detective Claire Bryce in the Shondaland's legal thriller How to Get Away with Murder, and the following year on the Lifetime comedy drama Devious Maids. In 2018, Parker starred as General Anita Dufine in the final season of TNT drama series The Last Ship, and later was cast in a series regular role as Lauren Haley in the fourth season of the CW superhero series Supergirl. In 2022, Parker was cast in a recurring role on the Peacock drama series Bel Air and co starred opposite Joey King in the romantic drama film The In Between. Later, she was cast as title character's mother in the CW series Tom Swift. And then it just talks about her personal life. In June of 2007, Parker married fellow actor Joseph J. Jones, and they have 2 children together. And their son Will unfortunately died back in 2018. So again, shout out to this Durham native honey making some shit shake in this Hollywood scene and doing her thing. Oh, okay, I haven't heard of that radio person. Okay, okay, thank you, Beezus.
Kudos to April Parker Jones.
Kudos to April Parker Jones, honey. And like I said, she has no players, and the roles that she plays are just like some really important roles. Like in Peacock's Bel Air, she plays Will's mom, the one who sends him to Bel Air. So that's a major thing. And then I know like I personally don't know her or have ever met her, but I know people who have because she went to a high school Hillside here in Durham. So she's a Hillside graduate as well.
I remember her role in that. I remember that.
Hmm. Yes, honey. I think she's a really good actress. And I be trying to hear like she kind of masks her accent really well because I be trying to like she'll let it slip sometimes because this is a really hard thing to add. And I'm speaking as both a Durham native and an actor. Like it is a really challenging thing to try to hide this accent and make it sound convincing. But she does it and does it well. So go ahead, favorite Taurus.
Well, I don't want that.
Exactly. Give her something she don't want, and that Durham is gonna come out.
Mm-mm.
I'm telling you.
I'm hungry. I want a burger.
Well, no, she from Durham, so she might want a hot dog, honey. Quiet as it's kept. You know, we love our hot dogs in Carolina, or a barbecue sandwich. Mhm.
I can
I'm
see
Good
sorry.
that
barbecue.
here.
A hot dog with ketchup on it. Auntie.
Hell no. Will, don't you? I will get you banned from North Carolina.
With some vegetables on
Oh my God. Well, I mean, unless it's coleslaw, sure.
it.
That kind of vegetable is fine. Well, that was the May Mayhem. Continue to move and shake for and put on for your city, Durham, Bull City, North Carolina. Well, does anybody want to add anything, or maybe seeing her in the show before we get started with the tea? All right. Well, let's get started with the tea, honey.
It's tea time, baby.
Yes. Now the first story is Smokey Robinson. His lawyer responded to the allegations that we talked about yesterday. And let me get the site for y'all. So I'm going to be sharing a link from ABC News. Get it here. And y'all see where it says here, Smokey Robinson's lawyer says rape allegations against him are vile and false. So, Smokey Robinson's lawyer said allegations of rape and sexual assault against him in a lawsuit from 4 former housekeepers are vile and false. Attorney Christopher Frost said in a statement Wednesday that the evidence will show that this is simply an ugly method of trying to extract money from an 85-year-old American icon. The suit filed in Los Angeles Superior Court on Tuesday against the Motown music luminary seeks at least $50 million in damages over the alleged assaults, which women say took place between 2007 and 2024. Robinson's wife, Frances Robinson, is also named as a defendant for allegedly enabling his behavior and creating an abusive work environment. We will be addressing the numerous aspects of the complaint that defy credulity, as well as issues relating to purported timelines, inconsistencies, and relationships between the plaintiff and others, Frost's statement said. The 4 women each alleged that Smokey Robinson would wait until he was alone with them in his Los Angeles house and then sexually assaulted and raped them over their objections, and in some cases, for many years. We believe that Mr. Robinson is a serial and sick rapist and must be stopped, the women's attorney John Harris said at a news conference on Tuesday. The Associated Press doesn't identify people who say that they have been sexually assaulted unless they publicly identify it themselves. The women, whose names are withheld in the lawsuit, appeared with their lawyers at the news conference. They didn't speak and they covered their faces with masks. And they wore sunglasses as well. Frost called the news conference bizarre theatrics and an attempt to enlist the public and as an unwitting participant in the media circus they are trying to create. We ask anyone following the case to reserve judgment as the evidence comes to light and all the actual facts of the case unfold. The one woman said that she worked for Robinson from 2012 to 2014 and was assaulted at least 20 times in that span. Another said that she worked for him from 2014 until 2020, and she was assaulted at least 23 times. All the accusers said they eventually quit over the assaults, though in some cases it took several years. And all said that they feared coming forward over fears of retaliation, public shame, and possible effects on their immigration status. The same fears have kept the women from going to the police to report Robinson, their lawyers said, though they also said they believe criminal investigation is warranted. The suit seeks damages based on sexual battery, assault, false imprisonment, gender violence, and other allegations. Frost said that Robinson would soon address the allegations himself and they would be asking the court to dismiss the lawsuit. Robinson, a member of both the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and the Songwriters Hall of Fame, was among the biggest hit makers of the 1960s as a central part of the Motown records machine, both with his group, The Miracles, and as a solo artist, with songs including Tears of a Clown and The Tracks of My Tears. And this article said that Robinson hasn't spoken out of as of yet. He actually did, and I got his quote. He actually had a phone call with the Daily Mail yesterday. He spoke. It just spoke briefly about it, and he said, "I am appalled," and then added, "I can't talk about this right now." So that was pretty much Smokey's response. So, ooh, child, and Chill, you brought to our attention yesterday that these employees more than likely would be of a certain persuasion, and it appears that they are indeed.
Yeah, yeah. It sounded that way because no one would put up with that kind of treatment unless it would be a threat to them to report the person. So I just assumed that they would be Hispanic, and they were.
Yes, indeed. Well, that's said on that. Once any more comes out about this, I will definitely keep y'all updated. Yes, you better throw them tomatoes, honey. Did anybody want to add anything about smoking before we go to the next story? Hey, Happy.
Well, I'm going to withhold judgment, but I mean, the lawyer made an appropriate statement. What else is he supposed to say, really?
Yep.
This is a typical lawyerese response. And, he did what he had to do. So, yeah. But four people, that's a lot of people coming forward
Mm-hmm.
to complain about one person. So, but yet, we'll see how the case plays out.
Yes, indeed. Well, speaking of playing out, remember when we talked about Lil Uzi Vert being rushed to the hospital and staying like I think he stayed. I forgot exactly how long he stayed, but it was due to him because he was sucking that nitrous oxide out of the blooms.
Yes, I remember that.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's out and he wants his fans to know that he's doing well.
Hmm.
So I'm sharing this link from All Hip Hop. Now we won't spend too much time on this, but y'all just see where it says Lil Uzi Vert reassures fans after scary hospital visit he's still loaded, and he
Good
shared a
grief.
video. Good, right? Good for you.
Good grief. Yeah.
So he says, "Dear Summer, I know you will be overly good to me, feeling free, and I'm still loaded. I love y'all more than life. Oh yeah, thanks again for loving me." And he put that's the caption of a video he had on his Instagram where he was like um jumping on the skateboards and shit and
Mm-mm.
hmm
Mm-mm.
yeah.
Mm-mm. Next.
Next, okay. Oh, baby. You know that saying, that girl she ate, honey, on Twitter when she tweeted that time. Dig deep and think of the messiest bitch you know. It's a man, ain't it?
Yeah, I've seen that
Uh,
tweet.
baby, cause honey, this next story, Irv got his brother, honey. So I'm sharing this link from Vibe here on slide 5, and y'all see where it says Ashanti blasted by Chris Gotti for denying relationship with Irv Gotti, and he says I was their therapist. When I tell you this was just so nasty and unnecessary,
She denied being with Chris Gotti. I mean, wasn't that general? I mean, Irv, wasn't that general knowledge?
kinda, sort of. She didn't really confirm or deny.
Oh, okay, okay.
So we'll talk about it. So
Oh,
Chris Gotti, elder brother of the late music mogul Irv Gotti, recently addressed comments made by Ashanti regarding her relationship with Irv during her time at Murder Inc. Records. He called her recollection disrespectful and dismissive of the deep personal and professional history they shared. Speaking candidly on the Let's Keep It 100 podcast, Chris expressed frustration over Ashanti's portrayal of her past with Irv, particularly her assertion that their involvement never amounted to a real relationship. She says they wasn't in a relationship. They was in a relationship, Chris stated. He went on to describe himself as a frequent mediator during their private conflicts, saying, I was their therapist. Like, come on now, don't do that. But at the end of the day, that's what makes but the end of the day, that's what makes what went on with them so real. Chris also took issue with Ashanti's downplaying of Irv Gotti and Murder Inc.'s contributions to her success, suggesting her rise in the music industry wouldn't have happened the same way without Irv's influence. For her to act like it ain't Murder Inc. that made her is fucking bullshit, or Irv made her. She had 3 deals before him. Like something with y'all chemistry worked out. Respect it. That's all. Not saying you have to talk about the nigga, but respect the magic that was made. That's all I said. I'm not gonna let no one talk about my brother. We're gonna have a problem, simple and plain. Especially someone who he made their career. Like I was there. He made you sing records the way you sang them, because you would have never sang it that way if it was up to you, he continued. Chris's comments were made in response to remarks Ashanti gave during her 2022 appearance on Angie Martinez's IRL podcast, in which she addressed Irv Gotti's earlier statements on Drink Champs. Let's clear this up, Ashanti said. We're not going to say relationship. We dealt with each other. But was Irv my boyfriend? Was I his girlfriend? Never. Irv had several girlfriends, so I'm a little confused by the label and the description. She continued, I think that Irv definitely has his side and his version. You may think that it's something and the other person knows that it's not. Irv has flat out lied about a lot of things. Ashanti added that manipulation played a role in their dynamic, sharing, he would say stuff like, no one wants to record with you, nobody fucks with you like that. Despite their complicated history, Ashanti insisted she had no interest in exposing Irv's secrets, stating, I'm happy, I'm in a different space, I don't play in the mud. The heated back and forth between the two camps had simmered in the wake of Gotti's death, with Ashanti paying tribute to the Queens New York native in a public statement on social media. Ashanti and Irv Gotti were at the heart of Murder Inc.'s meteoric rise in the early 2000s, creating hits like Foolish and Happy, tracks that dominated the charts and cemented the label's place in hip-hop and R&B history. Tragically, Irv Gotti passed away in February of 2025 after reportedly suffering from a major hemorrhage stroke. I'm sorry, I'm sure I said that wrong. Hemorrhagic stroke stemming from
Hemorrhagic.
his hemorrhagic. Thank you, honey. Stemming from his long-standing bout with diabetes. Gotti was 54 at the time of his death. So yeah, so that doesn't sound like it. Pretty much, she confirmed. She was like, I mean, we dealt with each other, but was I a girlfriend? No. I mean, he had plenty of girlfriends. So I don't know why he would try to give me that title. But that was pretty much Ashanti's response. And this brother of Irv's gonna wait 2 years later after this interview, and what the 3 months after the man done died, to bring this up. Messy.
Well, but if they dealt with each other, meaning they slept together, that doesn't mean he wasn't influential in her career. Maybe he liked her enough to do that. I I sort of see his point. Like she's downplaying it, like, oh, we just knew each other. Might have had a little fling, but that's about it.
And he
I,
like,
I
girl,
can't.
please, I was y'all therapist. I was sitting there talking y'all through y'all problems. You sitting there
Yeah,
trying to make it seem like it was.
I can't be mad at him for feeling a way about it the way she's downplaying it. If that wasn't the case, I can't feel a way about it. Go ahead, Will.
Well, to your point, Auntie, I don't think there's necessarily a time period where someone can speak out after like one of their loved ones passed away because there's a lot to process. So this may have been like his first real opportunity, or him feeling up to actually discussing the matter. Um, yeah, I don't. I've noticed that as well from Ashanti, and I don't necessarily agree with it. I mean, granted, that Concrete Rose album and After, mm. but
Excuse me.
yes, but the Ashanti and then Chapter Two, they were great albums.
And
So
so
I'm
was
not.
Concrete Rose.
No, no. So um, yeah. So I can understand that. I also wonder if like success played a part into it as well. But perhaps she wasn't happy with the promotion of Concrete Rose and the dedication afterwards, if my memory is correct. Could that have played a role to it? Possibly, but I definitely don't agree that Irv and the Ink played a pivotal role because she was everywhere. Even got her in the rooms with Ashanti and writing her music and singing her songs as well, singing for her. Oops. Um, But everyone's journey is different, and she might be trying to separate herself, and she has every right to do so. But facts are facts. Just how that Concrete Rose album was a choice.
What a great choice. Oh my God, how dare. Well, let me tell you one thing about Miss Concrete Rose, honey. That came out when I was, I think, 18 years old. Yep, because it came out in 2004. I was just coming into my adulthood, into my bottomhood. I felt like a young lady, honey. That album is everything to me. So I.
To you, to you. You said the key words right there, baby. To you.
Mm, mm, hmm.
Well, well.
Um, so yeah, choices were made. I could definitely see a little scarf flapping in the wind listening to this album. I totally understand the overall sentiment behind it. It's just in comparison to those first two albums, it wasn't that great. Even though I tapped my foot to "Only You" a couple times. That's as far as it got. But yeah,
Only you.
yes.
Focus. Don't let them. Don't leave me
Mm.
alone, baby. That so hot. That album had hits that stick like grits, honey.
Well, based on that promotion, that album left us alone rather quickly. But I'll leave that one alone, Auntie.
Wow. Wow. But yeah, that's that on that. So yeah, he said, and I agree with you. So there is no time period. So I touche on that. And yeah, he's grieving, but he was like, okay, now girl, I know the tea. I was there, but I heard the tea. Y'all were telling me the tea. This was a serious relationship, not just a fling. So and at the time when she was on Murder Inc., I think Ashanti did like she hit some major milestones. I remember at one point, I'm gonna have to go and confirm this on like Google or something, but I think when it came to the top five or top 10 songs or something, she had three all at one time, like three hits that she was a part of, and no one has ever been to do that since the Beatles. So I remember her setting that kind of record or something like that. Go ahead, favorite Taurus.
Yeah, Auntie, I was also going to add, I believe for her debut album, wasn't the highest, I know it was the highest selling female album of that year, but I believe it was also the highest selling debut album from a singer. I know that was a record at one time. I'm not sure. Of course, we're in different times now due to streaming and all of that, but she had a very, very big and popular following for sure.
And I was part of it. And part of it because Ashanti could come out with something today and I'm gonna be streaming it.
Mm,
Mm-mm.
I
interesting.
sure am.
So question: what if it was a song with her husband, Baby Father? Would you stream it
uh,
then, Auntie? Oh,
no, no, I might have to wait till they get like a version without him, kind of like what Dolce did with Kodak, the version without him. Mm-hmm.
mhm.
Yeah, I don't know about it. And you remember that and Ashanti was like she was doing her thing to the point. Remember when Beyonce went solo? There was an article I forgot who did it, but that famous article that said Beyonce going solo. She's no Ashanti. Y'all remember that?
No.
I remember that very clearly, and I remember it was big news on I think it was VH1 or something like that. Some place I was reporting the pop culture news at the time. I was like, ooh, things are heated. But of course, naturally, the industry is always going to pit women against each other,
Right.
whether there
So
is an immediate connection or not. And of course, they were two hot young singers at the time. But circumstance and how do I say circumstances and also effort and also quality of artwork has had kind of disputed those claims 22 years later, excuse me.
that was a bullshit
Mm-hmm.
caption. For real, for real.
She's no,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
because she
just
probably
shared it on
didn't.
Slide.
So I was like, 'cause if I remember correctly, I know "Dangerously in Love," like the label did not believe in it at all. So that immediate success did not come to Beyonce like it did to Ashanti. So I can understand how they could have made those comparisons early on for sure.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. I was
Yep. And you
busy
see,
thinking of
I
other things.
just yeah, and honey, you know us, we was all up in them radios and stuff like that. But I was able to share it on Slide 6 what I was talking about, and it was the New York Times who wrote that.
Wow. And look at them now.
Mhm. Well, that's that on that. Does anybody want to add anything about Irv or Ashanti or his Irv's brother Chris before we go to the next story? Okay, so our next story, y'all. This is going to be a little while. I'm just going to warn y'all in advance.
Oh
So,
boy.
just a quick question before we start. Now, if you had like, would you want anybody to judge you, you and your partner having sex, just randomly, like, just say for example, Simon Cowell. If you saw Simon Cowell out in public or like at a Vegas casino, would you
Hmm.
want him to judge you and your partner having sex?
As just a critique, you mean, on
Yeah,
his?
just a critique. In the bedroom watching, and Simon doing his judgy thing, like, oh, absolutely dreadful, or whatever he be saying.
No.
Okay, I wouldn't either. Well, there was actually a couple that was willing to pay him $150,000 to do that.
Did he
So
take?
I'm sharing this. He actually did not. He actually did not take the money. So look, I'll do it. Just kidding, you a mess.
Pay me
So I just should.
150,000. I'll judge it.
Hello. So y'all see, I just shared this link from the New York Post on slide 7. How much did Simon Cowell get offered to judge a couple having sex?
Mm, mm, mm.
So forget judging America's Got Talent. Simon Cowell once got offered $150,000 to judge a random couple having sex, but the outspoken TV personality turned it down. Cowell, who was 65, reminisced about the bizarre ordeal on Wednesday's episode of the How to Fail podcast, while addressing other odd offers he's been presented with over the years. People used to ask me to be rude to them, the competition judge said, admitting he shut those requests down. But his refusals didn't stop there. Uh, then one time I was in a restaurant and this guy comes up to me and he said, "I love your show. Would you take a picture?" I say, "Sure." Cowell explained, revealing the stranger then introduced his wife and asked the American Idol alumni if he judged them having sex. He thought the couple was joking, but he quickly found out that they were serious. I'm like, "Are you winding me up?" They went, "No, we'll pay you," the star recalled. Cowell confessed that he marinated on the idea, especially when the couple told him how much they were willing to pay. I said, "Well, how much?" It was actually a lot of money. I thought, "Do I?" "No, I just can't do it," he said of the moral dilemma before revealing that they offered him a whopping $150,000 to watch them get down in the bedroom. It was just so bizarre, he shared of their proposal. Cowell explained that despite his mean television persona, he actually enjoys random conversations with strangers, but only sometimes. That's something I have really enjoyed. That's something I really have enjoyed, though, weirdly. I'm very shy, like, I can't go to a pre party. It's my worst thing in the world. Making small talk with someone I don't know. If we have a common subject, I'm pretty good. But years ago, if I had to go to a party and had to talk to people, it was torture, he stated on the podcast. His fiancee, Lauren Silverman, however, is a professional of small talk, according to Cowell. I bet she is. Now, Lauren Silverman, my fiance, is brilliant in these positions. I'm hopeless. Joan Collins had a birthday party, and I said to Lauren, "I'll go, but we have to time it because there will be a horrible stand up pre drinks that I can't do," he continued. Cowell popped the question to Silverman in December of 2021 after 8 years of dating. The couple shares one child, Eric, who turned 11 in February on Valentine's Day. Cowell made headlines months ago when he broke his silence on Liam Payne's death after the One Direction alumni's fatal fall off of his hotel balcony in October. The X Factor UK judge reunited with the boy group he created, including members Harry Styles, Lewis Tomlinson, Niall Horan, and Zayn Malik at Payne's funeral. Following Payne's shocking death, Cowell released an emotional statement. "You never really know how you feel about someone until a moment like this happens," he wrote on Instagram. "Liam, I am devastated, heartbroken, and I feel empty. And I want you to know how much I love and respect I have for you. Every tear I have shed is a memory of you." All right. Oh, child. Go ahead, Shirley.
Okay, number one, this is assuming that Simon Cowell knows anything about good sex.
Ha!
Okay,
Okay.
because the show doesn't even address this issue. So, why would they think he would know what's good, what's bad, and so forth? If I would request that of anyone, it would be somebody like Dr. Ruth. I mean, I know she's passed on, but it would be some kind of sex therapist or something like that if they truly were serious about having their performance evaluated. Simon Cowell wouldn't. I mean, this was just a bullshit to me. Just
No,
something
you're
for them
right.
to do. You know, they must be bored or something because this is not a valid um, type of request. It's not a serious request, which they may have paid him if he accepted it, but no.
Yeah. On the other hand, honey, if they know what I know, they will keep Simon Cowell and his ass and his busy penis out of their bedroom, honey. Because remember that, Greg. Remember when I was just reading, and his wife Lauren, who said that he said that she's really good at small talk, and I was like, I bet she is. Because you remember how they got together, honey.
No, I don't know anything about that.
Oh well, let me just remind you really quickly. So she was actually the wife of his best friend. They were fucking
Oh,
around. Yep, she got pregnant, and that baby Eric that they were talking about, she decided to keep the baby.
oh,
So then they ended up getting married.
okay. Hmm.
So yeah, that's probably why. Because apparently it was good enough for her to want to keep that baby. So I don't know.
Yeah, that still has nothing to do with it. I'm saying. You know what I mean? Because I know some of these men out here is like 3 minute men, especially men with money. Uh, yeah, no, no, dear. And three.
And if you'd like, chill, I'm actually sure so that way you can kind of save it and read up on it later. This is an article about that from the State Journal Register. I just shared on slide 8, and he just
Mhm.
says he regrets affair with Lauren Silverman.
But now they're engaged. Okay.
No, I think they're married now, aren't they? I think,
Oh,
or
he said fiance.
oh, okay, my mistake.
Yeah.
So yeah, long story short, honey, you'll end up paying Simon $150,000 to sleep with your wife, and if that's your intention, then cool. But I don't think that was yours. You just wanted him to judge y'all. So I don't know.
Crazy.
Well, that's that on that. Do you want to add anything before we go to the next story?
No, thank you.
That. Well, speaking of this article actually mentioned Liam Payne as well. Now, Liam's estate is actually going to be controlled by his ex, Cheryl Cole. So I just shared this article on slide 9. Liam Payne's ex, Cheryl Cole, takes control of late One Direction singer's $32 million estate, honey. So just like that, you know that old saying go, honey, when you die, you can't take all that money with you. That's a lot of money. So this article starts off Liam Payne's ex girlfriend and the mother of his only child, Cheryl Cole, has been named the administrator of the late One Direction singer's uh, 32.2 million estate after he passed away without a will. In court documents dated May 1st and obtained by People, the Girls Aloud singer, who's 41 years old, and attorney Richard Mark Bray were listed as the official administrators of Payne's estate. The late musician had 8-year-old son Bear with Cole, whom he dated from 2014 to 2016. Uh, the legal paperwork reportedly outlined the gross value of Payne's UK estate at 38 million, with his net sitting at about 32.2 million. Cole and Braid will manage the money, but they currently have limited authority and cannot distribute it, reported the BBC, noting that when someone in the UK dies without a will, husband, wife, or civil partner, the deceased person's children usually inherit the estate. Payne plunged to a death when he fell on the third floor balcony in Buenos Aires. We don't really need to revisit that. We know all about that, and that's pretty much where I'm gonna end it at on this story. So, yep, we know that Cheryl and that attorney, Mr. Bray, has control over that. But from what I'm reading, it sounds like they won't be able to even touch it. It's going to be saved for Bear when he gets old enough to. to spend that money.
Oh, okay. Well, that really paid off for her. Uh, hmm.
Hmm.
I'm glad it does go to his child, though.
Yep.
Of course, the lawyers will retain control and get paid and so forth until he's old enough to take over. So, they'll get their share.
Yes, indeed. But $32 million, honey, just I don't even think I would love to, but I don't think I will ever even see anything even close to that in my lifetime.
Not if you work 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
Mm-mm.
Maybe
Well,
1 or 2 million if you really saved and you had a fairly good job. Yeah, 32 million. Yeah, no.
or if 50 Cent would just stop playing her up and marry me, then I could just have his income as well. Well, that's that on that. So before we go to the next story, did anybody want to add anything else? First goes the creditors first, debt lawyers. Yep.
Yeah, that won't consume a whole lot of it though.
Well, honey, this next story, honey, Universal Music Group, they're telling the courts that we want Drake to stop playing with us and please dismiss this bullshit. So I'm sharing a link from Billboard, and y'all see where it says Universal Music Group hits back at Drake's astonishing claims in updated suit over Kendrick's Super Bowl show. So yes, girl, they are still talking about the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that
So
was.
Universal Music Group. Well, sorry, but which side?
I was gonna say that was wild to hear that song played on a national stage like that. Especially
Hmm.
the A minor part, and people they didn't sing no other parts of the song, but they sang that part.
And this is where I think that was what Drake's problem was because
Mhm.
even though Kendrick didn't say it, the audience did.
They did. They sure did.
So, Universal Music Group wants a federal judge to dismiss Drake's updated defamation lawsuit that complained about Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime performance of "Not Like Us," arguing he's just upset about a rap artist who defeated him. Weeks after Drake filed an amended version of his case that claimed the halftime show was intended to assassinate the character of another artist, UMG fired back Wednesday, arguing that the new claims about the Super Bowl are as legally faulty as the rest of the case. Drake's new allegations are astonishing, the music giant's lawyer, Rollin Ransom, writes. As Drake concedes, Lamar's Super Bowl performance did not include the lyric that Drake or his associates are certified pedophiles. For example, the alleged defamation material that is at the heart of the case. The focus of Drake's new claims that the largest audience for a Super Bowl halftime show ever did not hear Lamar call Drake or his crew pedophiles, betrays this case for what it is. Drake's attack on the commercial and creative success of the rap artist who defeated him, rather than the content of Lamar's lyrics, Ransom added. Lamar released "Not Like Us" last May amid a high-profile beef with Drake that saw the two UMG stars release series of bruising diss tracks. The song, a knockout punch that blasted Drake as a certified pedophile over an infectious beat, became a chart-topping hit in its own right and won 5 Grammy Awards, including record and song of the year. In January, Drake took the unusual step of suing Universal Music Group over the song, claiming his own label had defamed him by boosting the track's popularity. The lawsuit, which doesn't name Lamar himself as a defendant, alleges that UMG waged a campaign against its own artist to spread a malicious narrative about pedophilia that it knew to be false. UMC believes the case is clearly meritless, that hyperbolic insults and vitriolic allegations are par for the courts and distracts and cannot form the basis for a liable lawsuit. The company has reportedly noted that Drake himself was happy to make such attacks, including accusing Lamar of domestic abuse until he lost the battle. During the halftime show, which took place weeks after Drake filed his case, Lamar omitted the word pedophile. But after much speculation over whether he played the song at all, Kendrick really didn't hold back otherwise, making it the centerpiece of the set and clearly rapping similar lyrics, including Say Drake, I Hear You Like I'm Young. In his amended complaint last month, Drake's attorney argued that the decision to censor the word pedophile during the broadcast failed to avoid the song's defamatory meaning and instead had underscored the rapper's legal case against UMG. Kendrick Lamar would have not been permitted to perform during the Super Bowl performance unless the word pedophile was omitted from the lyrics. That is because nearly everyone understands that it is defamatory to falsely brand someone a certified pedophile, wrote Drake's attorney, Michael Gottlieb. But in Wednesday's motion to dismiss the case, UMG argued that Drake's censorship argument was logically flawed. Drake contends that the decision not to include the word pedophiles could only reflect that the language is defamatory, UMG's lawyer writes, but this ignores any number of other explanations for the decision, such as threats by Drake of additional meritless litigation. Wednesday's motion also highlighted that Drake had removed obviously fake factual allegations from his original complaint, including that UMG directly paid for bots to boost streams of Kendrick's track. Drake is now reduced to citing a different podcast host who claimed that Kendrick used bots and a now deleted anonymous Twitter comment accusing Lamar of buying promo. Drake's lawyer will have the chance to respond to the motion to dismiss in the weeks ahead, and the judge will issue a ruling at some point in the next few months. In a statement to Billboard on Thursday, a spokesman for UMG underscored the arguments in the motion to dismiss. Nowhere in the 100-plus page legal blather written by Drake's lawyer do they bother to acknowledge that Drake himself was written and performed massively successful songs containing equally provocative taunts against other artists. Nor do they mention that it was Drake who started this particular exchange. In the same statement, UMG said Drake's lawyers were chasing wild conspiracies about why one song that upset Drake had massive global appeal, when in reality, the company was working tirelessly to promote all of its artists. Our continuing partnership with Drake and his enduring success is a shining example, the company said in the statement. Despite his lawyers' attempts to silence other artists and threaten the companies that work with them, we remain committed to propelling Drake's career while maintaining our unwavering support of all our artists' creative expression, Drake's included. So yeah, UMG said, "Stop playing with me in court."
I don't know why he continues, but hey.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna say something that's not gonna sound really nice, but it's that white mom in him. You know how most white people like to sue, and especially when things don't go their way. It's that that Canadian white Jewish mom in him, honey. That's why all he knows is litigation. So allegedly. Well, that's that on that. Does anybody want to add anything?
What do you think? Do you think he's gonna win or lose?
I think he's gonna lose. I think because what's gonna happen is just like they said in there is if if he's Drake is trying to open up a can of worms, basically. If he's saying that UMG paid for bots and stuff to increase the visibility of the song and stuff, he's gonna open up like how UMG also did that for him as well. And I don't
Right.
think he wants to go there. So I think Drake is probably gonna drop it because things are gonna get too specific, and some stuff is gonna come out that he don't want to come out. And just like they said, all of this started because of him. Drake was the one that started all this shit, not Kendrick.
Right. They didn't do anything they haven't been doing just to promote Kendrick. I get it.
Mhm.
Everybody gets the same treatment based on what they're saying. So yeah.
Yes, indeed, honey.
Oh, Happy posted the new pope is the super conservative American pope. Oh, that's the one I think who said he doesn't believe in the LGBTQ community.
Mm.
If that's the same one they had, the little speech I saw on the news.
Well, super conservative and American, honey, I would imagine so. That sounds right on brand for a super conservative American.
Yeah.
Somebody who wouldn't agree with how you gonna agree with somebody's lifestyle? Fuck out of here.
Right. Well, they don't live long.
And he's from Chicago. Hello, emotional support top. He said, "This is really the Milky Way ghetto." Oh, child.
I was hoping the black guy would be elected. I don't think any pope has ever been black. There may have been another nationality other than white, but I don't think there's ever been a black one. I could be wrong.
No, you're not wrong. I don't think there ever was a black one. In fact, I think the last one, the one who just passed away, he wasn't he of like, was it Argentinian or something? Like I know it was like of a Spanish speaking somewhere he's from. That I think Spanish is the first language, and
Okay.
he was the first of that. I remember them talking about that. He was like the first who was other than actual white.
Oh, okay.
And Chris said, Milky Way ghetto honey. Well, speaking of ghetto honey, Chris, this is the story I was telling you about, honey. Now, even though you don't know this radio host, you about to know about his daughter because you talking about good and ghetto, honey. So I'm sharing this link from the San Francisco Chronicle. And y'all see where it says here, Bay Area radio legend's daughter indicted in bachelor paternity scandal. And when I tell y'all, this is a hot mess, baby. So Laura Owens, the daughter of Bay Area radio legend Ron Owens, was indicted in Arizona on multiple felony charges, including fraud and perjury, in connection with the paternity case involving former The Bachelor star Clayton Eckert. The Maricopa County Attorney's Office announced the indictment on Tuesday following a year long investigation into Owens' claims. In 2023, Owens filed a paternity suit against Eckert, alleging that she had become pregnant with twins after a brief encounter with the reality TV star. But Eckert denied the allegations, stating that their sexual interactions did not involve intercourse, according to the indictment. So y'all can read between the lines. Y'all said, we didn't have sex, she just sucked me off. So Owens later claimed she had suffered a miscarriage, but her testimony raised doubts in court. After inconsistencies in Owens' statement came to light, Judge Julie Mata of let's see, Julie Mata, I think Mata is how you say her name, Julie Mata of Maricopa County Superior Court referred the case to the county attorney's office. Investigators found that Owens had fabricated key evidence, including altering an ultrasound image and creating a fake pregnancy video. Additionally, Owens was found to have lied multiple times under oath. A grand jury indicted Owens on 7 felony counts: 1 count of fraudulent schemes, 1 count of forgery, 4 counts of perjury, and 1 count of tampering with physical evidence. The charges stem from actions between May of 2023 and June of 2024, alleging that Owens intentionally sought child support from Eckert under false pretenses. The indictment follows a June 2024 court ruling in which Judge Mata deemed Owens' claims fraudulent and baseless. The judge also accused Owens of a pattern of deception, awarded Eckert's attorney fees, and referred the case for criminal prosecution. Owens had previously contested the ruling, arguing that she had provided multiple forms of evidence, including at home pregnancy tests, a urine test from an urgent care facility, and a blood test from a lab, all of which came back positive. In a Medium post from June of 2024, she wrote Judge Mata, in essence, dismissed all of the evidence as meaningless. Owens further claimed that the judge was influenced by Eckert's celebrity status. It seems clear to me that Judge Mata would not have allowed this case to go on if Clayton had not been a former Bachelor star, Owens wrote. She argued that if both parties had been financially struggling, the case would have been dismissed after she miscarried, removing the need for a paternity test or parenting plan. Instead, she alleged because Clayton had a high profile status, Judge Mata seemed determined to drag this case out. Eckert, who had previously expressed relief over the legal outcome, posted on Instagram thanking God for the decision. Owens has yet to comment publicly on the indictment. Her father, Ron Owens, revealed early this year that he is facing significant financial hardship due to ongoing health issues, including Parkinson's disease, cancer, heart problems, and multiple hospitalizations. Despite his decades long career in radio at KGO, the 79-year-old said he has struggled to cover mounting medical expenses. A GoFundMe campaign raised over $120,000 from friends, families, and former colleagues. So, just like I said, honey, good and ghetto. So she done fabricated this whole thing, done made up fake videos and fake ultrasounds, done got child support out this man or tried to go out this man for child support. They came back and sued her and said, well, wait, we didn't even have intercourse. She just sucked me off. So how can I get her pregnant and all she did was suck me off?
That is wild.
I told y'all. Ghetto, honey.
How did she think even that would succeed if they weren't having intercourse? Oh my God.
Or she probably tried to do what a lot of these girls do to the rappers or the basketball or sports players where they,
Yeah.
get
Turkey
intimate with them,
baster.
right, a turkey base or like save it in their mouth or something like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm. Happy are you? Hey Moon, Happy. Are you familiar with Ron Owens? Out of curiosity, give me an emoji. Okay, so she's not. Okay. Well, what we do know, so we may not be familiar with him, but we know his daughter Laura is ghetto.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anybody want to add anything else before we go to the next story? Didn't watch Bachelor or Bachelorette. Me either, girl. Well, this next story, honey, this is oof, something else. And trigger warning, because this is talking about violence and intimate partner violence. So this next story I'm seeing on slide 12 from People. Y'all see where it says ex NFL player Kevin Ware Jr. pleads guilty, accepts 30 years for 2021 murder of girlfriend Taylor Pamaski. And chill, honey, when you look at this article, you're gonna see, honey, when you know how we talk about the facial asymmetry. And honey, you look at all the pictures of this man, and it's are you gonna be like, oh wow,
He did it.
hello. So, former NFL player Kevin Ware Jr. has pled guilty to the murder of his girlfriend Taylor Pamaski, according to local news outlets. Ware agreed to take a plea deal in court on Wednesday, May 7th, just days ahead of jury selection for his trial, and accepted 30 years in prison for murder and tampering with evidence, specifically a corpse, in the 2021 death of Pamaski, according to says the Houston Chronicle, KPRC TV, and KRIV TV. After prosecutors offered Ware a plea deal in court, Judge Brian Warren pressed Ware for a decision saying, I'm going to play football with you right now, per the Houston Chronicle. He warned that the former football tight end, he warned the former football tight end that the plea deal would expire, and if the trial went ahead, Ware could face life in prison. Ware reportedly said he would think about the offer before leaving to discuss the plea deal with his attorneys. After about 20 minutes, he returned to the court and accepted the plea deal per the outlet. The Harris County District Attorney's Office and Ware's attorney, Neil Davis III, did not immediately respond to People's request for comment. The former Washington Redskins and San Francisco 49ers player was indicted by a grand jury in Harris County, Texas on July of 2022 on murder and tampering charges in connection with Pomaski's death more than a year after she disappeared. 29-year-old Pomaski was last seen at a party at her home in Spring, Texas on April 25th of 2021. Police searched for clues in her disappearance, but were unable to find anything until December of that year. When the Harris County Sheriff's Department discovered human remains in a North Harris County ditch, the remains were identified as Pomaski at the end of April 2022. Prior to her disappearance, Ware was arrested in Harris County on 2 counts of possession with intent to deliver a controlled substance and unlawful possession of a firearm as a felon. He was released on a $23,000 bond on April 20th of 2021, 5 days before Pomaski vanished. He eventually took a plea deal and was given a 15-year concurrent sentence for both those previous charges. According to charging papers obtained by the Houston Chronicle, Ware was accused of using a knife, a blunt object, and strangulation, along with a manner and means unknown to the grand jury to kill Pomaski. In court records also obtained by the outlet, a woman alleged to investigators that Ware told her he cut Pomansky's throat and burned her body, even took a photo of the fire on his phone at the time. Weird ass. Ware would carry out his prison sentence for Pomansky's death concurrently with his sentence for his drug and weapons charges, per the Houston Chronicle, which added that his formal sentencing is scheduled for Friday, May 9th. Ware's NFL career was short lived. After playing college football at the University of Washington, he spent parts of the 2003 and 2004 NFL seasons with Washington and San Francisco, respectively. He only ever appeared in 16 NFL games, according to Pro Football Reference. Lock his ass up, throw away the key, child. Why does he look like that? Because he crazy. He is crazy. That is a crazy ass motherfucker, honey. And you could tell by it. And as soon, chill, when I was reading this story earlier, honey, when I saw his mugshots and his football picture, and when I saw that facial asymmetry, I said, oh, chill is going to clock his ass quickly.
Yeah, he and he's not sorry.
At all.
He's definitely a mean sucker. And when we keep talking about facial asymmetry for the listeners, this was an article I read a long time ago, and I looked for it again and couldn't find it, but it was done by China or Japan. They were studying serial killers, and could they find common things that you could look for to determine if a person was going to be a serial killer. But the one thing that they said they noticed among people who had committed heinous crimes in general was that you could look at their face and see asymmetry, like in the way their eyes look. Sometimes it's very subtle, but sometimes it's very pronounced, like the whole side of their face will look different than the other side. And they would put a half sheet of paper like over one side and then over the other side, and you could see the difference. So that's why I keep uh, saying that examine the people that you meet, especially potential partners or friends or anyone in general that you meet that would have something to do with you in your life. Of them not
Yes,
smiling.
indeed, honey.
And if you see any kind of facial asymmetry, one eye is more closed than the other, the one of the lip on one side is more turned up in a smile than on the other side, like a little lopsided smile. Yeah, run.
Yes, indeed. And because of chill, honey, like anytime if I'm looking at a potential partner, if I'm looking at like a new friend or whatever, I am definitely looking at that face to see if there's some asymmetry there.
Hmm.
So, and Mr. Ware Jr., he definitely has it. And you know who else I noticed it? Y'all gonna hate me, honey. And I'm sorry to all the Lakers fans out there, but Kobe Bryant. When I was looking at that documentary, I did not. I was like, "Whoa, baby!" It was like, ever since Chill brought that to my attention, I said, "Whoa!" That his asymmetry was very obvious when he was alive. I was like, "Mm-mm."
That counts. If anybody, like a contractor you're trying to hire to do work around your home or anything where you're spending your money with a person, anything that has anything at all to do with you and the interaction with that person, look at their face. If you see that shit, whatever it is that you're thinking of doing, don't do it.
That part. Y'all better listen to her. Bianca's going to get you. I know. And I'm like low key glad that she's not here right now because I feel like she would have cussed me smooth out, honey, for talking about Kobe like that.
And I mean, the truth is the truth. Just because he was a superstar basketball player doesn't mean he wasn't pathologic in other ways. I mean, it's sad to say. I mean, this is the problem with fandom. You want to ignore, the human side of the person. You don't know these people. You really don't. You don't know what went on behind closed doors between him and his wife or anything. In the case that came against him with the sexual assault and all that, you don't know these people, and a lot of them have these facial attributes. They're not good people. They don't have the
Mhm.
same empathy and consideration for people like you may have. And you don't know the things to look for. So I'm giving you this tea so that you can check out people's, and they can't hide it. And this is why I openly say it. It can't be hidden. It comes through
Mhm.
in their face. So check them out, y'all. Check them out.
Check them out indeed. What does anybody want to add anything about this man here or facial asymmetry before we go to the next story? Well, our next story, Chill, I have an update for you. So remember we talked about Sean Kingston and how he wanted to go and perform at the what was it, the
Yeah.
Summerfest, something like that?
Mm-hmm.
The judge said, "Nope, bitch, sit your ass down. You ain't going nowhere."
Wow.
Yeah. So I just shared this link from Hot New Hip Hop, and y'all see where it says Sean Kingston in trouble as judge denies judge denies concert opportunity ahead of wiring fraud sentencing. So, well, Sean Kingston may be all out of options now that his request to perform has been denied. Making matters worse, per All Hip Hop, is the fact that Judge David Lebowitz didn't give any sort of explanation for his decision. Instead, all that is being conveyed here is that the singer and songwriter is most likely going to prison. As we reported yesterday, Sean Kingston and his attorney, Zeljka Bozanic, claimed that he's been dealing with severe financial distress. He hasn't been able to make any money due to his strict home detention stipulations. Speaking of which, they include GPS tracking and not being able to leave Southern District of Florida. The gig they tried to convince Judge Lebowitz of granting him was the June 20th date of Summerfest in Milwaukee. Uh, Bozanic tried to pitch the show as a festival concert opportunity rather than a nightclub performance. The overall thinking was that the former would provide a heftier payday to contribute to the 1 million worth of stolen luxury items. In general, Bozanic presented it with a desperate tone, saying Mr. Anderson has not been able to produce income since being placed on home detention, since most of his job offers include appearing at concerts outside of our district. Mr. Anderson is going through a difficult time as he is not able to work. Kingston's attorney continued, the appearance that Mr. Anderson is seeking permission to attend is not a club bar appearance. It's more of a concert festival setting, like we went over. Moreover, they even offer tons of crucial details, such as location and check-ins with his probation officer. Sadly, the Beautiful Girls artist instead will just have to wait until August 15th of 2025. That is his scheduled sentencing date. He faces up to 20 years for each count. Speaking of those, Kingston was hit with one count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud and 4 counts of wire fraud. His mother Janice was also involved in the scheme. It involved using his status to convince retailers to release luxury items before receiving payment. So, yep, the judge said, nope, there will be no Summerfest for you, boo. You will be right there in Florida. Go ahead and sit down at the house.
Deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Uh, well, did anybody want to add anything before we talk about another Florida rapper? That I just want to apologize in advance, y'all. He in the news, so we got to talk about him.
Let's talk about it.
Okay. Well, remember we talked not too long ago. I can't remember when, but we talked about Kodak Black's uh child's mother, Miranda Johnson, and she pretty much accused him of being violent. She said he threw acid on her and stuff like that. And then we
Mm-hmm.
talked about how Kodak's attorney came out and pretty much denied everything that she said. Said that she's actually the crazy one. She destroyed property and all that. Kodak ass done got on his Instagram, y'all. And first of all, it looks sad. It really does. But I just want to say, if you laugh, you going to hell. So we're about to watch 3 video clips of him. It looks like he's crashing out. But let me just share my screen really fast, and we're gonna watch together. Oh, child, I was like, oh, honey. Okay, here's video number 1.
No girl treat you right. Damn. Never, bro. I never had a, bro, I never had a bit. I never had a bit of love. I never experienced love before. I never experienced it. I never experienced this shit, bro. I never experienced it, bro. I never did, bro. I never did, bro. I never experienced love, bro. I never did, bro. I never had it.
Oh my.
I never had this shit, bro. I never had a shit, bro. I never had it. I never had it.
Oh Jesus.
Hammock, what I just say? Hammock said, scream. I said, if you laugh, you going to hell. So this is sad. You're absolutely right. And honey, here's video number two.
Okay, okay.
And you know what? That's pretty much all the video sounds like. It's just him doing a lot of that.
Oh, uh,
Okay.
he crashing out big time.
Yep. And it says the video quickly made rounds online, with some viewers expressing concern for his mental health, while others speculated that he was trolling. So, and I think the reason that they said he was trolling because we're going to look at the last video.
Okay.
Um, kind of.
Uh, oh, 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 oh,
What the fuck? Yeah, he sounds like he need an exorcism. What the hell?
Get some holy oil and a therapist, and somebody said, "How could you even have sex with someone like that?" And then somebody said, "It's time to take him out back."
See, when you got money, someone will have sex with you and make babies with you. And look at this
Mhm.
mess here. You know, I don't know if he's trolling or not, but this is giving signs of uh, his brain is fried, maybe from all the drugs he's been using, or some kind of mental illness, or yeah, allegedly. I don't know anything about his drug use, but something's going on in his brain.
Oh, yeah, he's very open about his drug use, and one of his favorite vices is Percocets.
Mm,
And he even says in his song, one of his songs on this song, Super Demon, he says, "I knew the perk was fake, but I still ate it because I'm a gremlin."
mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
he's
and
very
that'll
open
fuck you
about
up.
it.
That fake shit will fuck you up for real.
Hmm.
So yeah, this is terrible.
I'm sorry, but the time to take him out back comment has me howling, honey. But yeah, I hate to see he well, actually, I really don't care that he's going through that. Like, but it's sad to see.
Yeah, it's really crazy to see. Hmm. Hopefully he
Yeah.
gets some help. That's all I can say. I was trying to look at the video. It was so dark to see if I saw any tears when he was allegedly crying.
You wouldn't have been able to see it no way because you really he didn't really show his face like that.
Right.
Only you really only saw his face in the first video in the first part, but then he got on the bed and like balled up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's that on Kodak, honey. I'm sure we're gonna see something else about his old crazy ass in the future, in the near future.
Yeah, probably. Hopefully it's about him being in the hospital.
Hmm. Well, y'all, this next story. Remember, we had a conversation about like people who monitor like people's celebrity social media activity to watch who unfollows who and stuff. And y'all, most of the room was like, I don't see how people, can have time to do stuff like that. And I said, I see where y'all coming from, but a bitch like me, I love shit like that because I love the mess. So I bring that up because now it's speculating that there is some drama between the Cyrus family, honey. Because they said that Tish done unfollow her daughter off of Instagram. So I just shared this link from TMZ. Tish Cyrus fuels more family drama, unfollows daughter Miley on Instagram. So it
Hmm.
looks like there's fresh family drama bubbling in the Cyrus clan. Tish just hit that unfollow button on Miley, and yep, fans are spiraling. A quick search confirms that Miley's MIA from Tish's following list, and the timing is eyebrow raising. coming just hours after Billy Ray teased that he's patching things up with Miley and can't wait to see her soon. Billy shared a nostalgic throwback video of Miley on the piano while he strummed guitar, writing, "Can't wait to see this young lady. Crazy how time flies." It's unclear if Billy's messages. I'm sorry. It's unclear if Billy's message had anything to do with Tish's unfollowing Miley. But here's an interesting observation. Billy's new girlfriend, Elizabeth Hurley, has been all about Miley, liking her latest Instagram post that was uploaded today. If there's trouble in paradise between Tish and Miley, that's a real shame, especially since Tish just patched things up with her other daughter, Noah, who was allegedly dating Dominic Purcell when Tish pursued him and later wed him. Back to Miley, though. Her fallout with her dad reportedly goes back to her parents' divorce, and even she's even admitted to getting her narcissism from him. But the two seemingly many things, it looks like it could be at the cost of her relationship with Tish. Family's complicated, huh? Child. So it looks like, honestly, it looks like Tish might be the toxic one here.
Yeah, hasn't Miley been making comments about her mother in the past?
Yeah, I know recently, I want to say like last year when it was because she was actually feuding with her dad, um, in support of the mom. I remember that, but I can't remember if she said like anything other than that. I can't remember off the top of my head right now.
Okay.
Messy, messy, messy. And it
You
looks like
know,
this article is implying that Tish is upset that she's like possibly patching things up with Billy Ray.
which is stupid. I mean, that is her father. Come on.
Let me look up Tish Cyrus's zodiac sign, honey, because it's really giving Aries. Let me see. Oh no, she's a Taurus. May 13th, honey. Ah,
That tells us all we need to know.
yeah, pretty much. Well, that's that on that. Does anybody want to add anything to them before we go to the next story?
Mm-mm.
Well, the next story is Kaylani is getting some support. So remember, we talked about her not too long ago about her concert being canceled because of her pro-Palestinian views.
Right.
Vic Mensa actually just came out in support of her. So I just shared this link from All Hip Hop. Vic Mensa stands with Kaylani as her concerts are acts over pro-Palestinian stance. So Kaylani found support from fellow artist Vic Mensa, who penned an Instagram post on Wednesday, May 17th. Excuse me, May 7th. I'm sorry, not 17th, May 7th, applauding her stance on the ongoing Gaza war. The singer included her pro Palestinian views in her new video, Next to You, sparking backlash. Consequently, some of her concerts, including a planned Central Park show during Pride Month, have been canceled due to security concerns raised by New York City officials. Vic Mensa, however, sees her willingness to speak out about important issues as nothing but brave. Few artists, and even fewer at your level of success, have chosen to censor humanity and courage as boldly and uncompromisingly as you have, let alone at the peak of their popularity, he wrote. Although newer to religion, I have a deep seated belief that God or the universe, or however you categorize the all powerful presence of the divine, is taking note of every selfless action, of every sacrifice, of every time we jeopardize our security to do what's right. I told the line with you. Sometimes I think my baby can't eat beliefs and I hold my tongue. And something inside of me dies slowly. It eats me from within. Vic Mensa, a Chicago native, has been vocal about his political views in the past. In 2016, he spoke to CNN shortly after Donald Trump was elected to office for the first time. He condemned the Electoral College, saying it underscores that the American government is not a government of the people. The people spoke and elected Hillary Clinton, but this isn't a real democracy, Mensa said at the time. We're still operating as a nation off of rules and laws that were enacted as a slave owning state. Mensa's caption suggested he suffered for his strong opinions, just as Kalani has. I lost a lot, he continued. I'll be honest, but perhaps out of necessity, I have to choose to believe that when the smoke clears, I'll look at my past with pride. I wasn't perfect, but I forged myself out of fire. I took the hard road. I've been awe inspired by the way you've stood up, especially at a time when I fell back. And I asked myself, although I need to feed my son, what kind of man do I want to inspire him to be? He continued, the highest form of sadaqah or charity is which is given in the health and with and much love wealth. When when we give, it's not what we don't need, but what we need the most. The reparation is supreme. Missa concluded his sentiments by assuring Kaylani her fans will never abandon her, writing, I have often thought about your choices over the past 18 months. Wish I was more brave and more self sufficient. The truth is, your people love you. Not because of an opportunity provided to you by a Booker here or a city there, but because they cherish the depth of your soul. None of this can change that. As long as you have them, you can never lose. The powers that be, the powers that be may be great, but I do believe we can all agree there is greater power. Kaylina, who shared Mrs. Post to her Instagram story, also had support from Macklemore. Hours after Missa posted his thoughts, the Heinz Hall rapper wrote an Instagram statement that mentions Kaylani. And I'm actually not going to talk about Macklemore's. No shade to him. I just don't really care about white people's opinion on hip hop right now. So, but thank you for supporting Kaylani. But yeah, that was nice. And I feel like we need more artists like this to stand up. But Vic Mensa, he's always like, even though like there's some, I remember reading something about him being an abuser, he's still for the most part like usually speaks up on oppressed people and stuff. So yeah, it's nice that he did this. Shout out to him. Now the abuser side of him can go to hell. But just that on that. Anybody want to add anything before we go to the next story? All right, I got two more stories left. The first story that I'm gonna talk about. So did y'all see on y'all timeline there was a girl who took two live crabs and put them motherfuckers in a ninja air fryer and just burned them and killed them alive, fried them alive, basically. Do
No, I
y'all,
saw a tweet talking about it, but I didn't see the actual video.
child, it was a hot mess. And she like, and people were tweeting like they were retweeting saying, "Oh, this girl is a serial killer." Look at her laughing at that shit. And so I see in the comments, yes, yes, I didn't watch the whole thing. Me either. I couldn't watch it because that was just it was something. Well, animal rights activists are outraged and they're speaking out. So I'm going to share this link from TMZ. So animal rights activists outraged over video of air frying live crabs. So animal rights activist Varun Verlan says he's horrified at a video that has gone viral, showing a woman seasoning and then air frying two crabs while they were still alive. In case you missed it, a TikToker posted a cooking video last week showing how she prepared a dish featuring blue crabs. She seasoned some potatoes and corn, then the live crustaceans themselves, before placing them still alive in a glass bottom air fryer and cooking them for 15 minutes with the camera showing their demise. We spoke to Verlon, the digital media director of Animal Save Moment, who says videos like these are exactly the problem with how crabs are excluded from being considered protected animals, like dogs, cats, horses, and are seen more like vegetables than animals. Verlon asked the people to take notice the crab cruelty started way before the person in the TikTok even touched the air fryer, and how important it is we understand the whole cycle of abuse and violence the creatures were subjected to, beginning when they were ripped away from their ocean home. Verlon says the poster is simply doing it for the views, which is unacceptable in his opinion, and TikTok needs to take accountability for letting content like this be published and go viral. He ends his thought by saying, if you're appalled by this video, just think about all the other animals on the planet and extend empathy to all other sentient animals, and urges folks to use that anger for something good. Viral crab TikToker Howie the Crab's mom, Laura Porter, took to social media to share her thoughts on the viral video, saying she wants to believe the poster doesn't realize the crab feels pain. Porter, similarly to Verlon, says crabs deserve to be treated better, like pets, and says they are a lot smarter than we think, remembering faces, pains, and even sign language. Howie's mom begs viewers to not put crabs in an air fryer because they take a long time to die, and she's sick of these videos not being taken down. So wow, child. Oh, go ahead, favorite tourist.
I don't get it. I don't. Hopefully, people are less than smart on this internet, and people have platforms that shouldn't have platforms on social media. That's a given. The one thing that kind of is confusing to me in this moment about the situation, one, that it's out. People are finding it outrageous, but two, well, three things actually. Two, aren't you supposed to cook crabs while they're still alive for the meat to be viable? And three, what is the difference between what she was doing as opposed to folks putting these live crabs in hot boiling pots of water to cook them? Is it because they were actually seeing the crabs being cooked? That part is a little confusing to me. So I again, I'm not understanding what the outrage is at all.
I think you own something. I think it was them actually seeing it and her seasoning it and just pretty much acting like it was. I think that's what the outrage is over. Go ahead, Shirley.
Well, one more thing before
Oh,
Chill starts.
sorry.
I was like, the thing is, people are talking about crabs can learn fucking sign language, but they were purchased with the intention of consumption because they were viable for consumption. They weren't wanting to use the crabs as pets. They're using them as part of a meal. Yeah, the whole thing is just, it gives very much selective outrage to me, and I do not get it.
Yeah. Go ahead, Shirley.
You can buy dead crabs that have not been cooked as long as they are, cleaned. Yes, you can buy them raw. Number two, most people think boiling kills them quicker. I think the problem with the video is that the air fryer took longer to kill them than dropping them in water, and that they would suffer, for a longer period of time. Of course, they're meant to be food, but I think that was the whole problem with what she did, as opposed to killing them first, and then maybe putting them in the air fryer. She could have dipped them in boiling water and killed them like instantly. So, but yeah, you can buy raw crabs.
I'm just gonna publicly say, honey, me, I personally think crabs are not that girl. So I'm just gonna side with Verlon on this one, simply because I just I mean, not that I believe what he's saying, but because I just don't like crabs. I just think it's just too much work you got to do just to get that mediocre ass meat in them legs and stuff. And I just, I'd rather just have some scrimps or some scallops or something. But no crab. I don't. When I go to a seafood boil, people look at me like I'm crazy when I don't even order crab legs in my bowl. But that's that. Go ahead, favorite tourist.
Some what, Auntie?
What's my bowl? Which was
A bowl, but you said scramps, Auntie.
oh some scrimps. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, listeners, if you're a first time listener of Auntie's Daytime Tea, I would like to make a public note that this is coming from the same person that prefers to eat chitterlings and
Yeah.
vegan sausages. So, please keep that in mind when you are consuming this information. Thank you very much.
Child, as quiet as it's kept. I would love some chitlins right now. Mm.
I rest my case.
People lose their mind over boiled seafood. I mean, this is a thing for a lot of people. The
Hmm.
crawfish, the crabs, they want it boiled and they want to crack them and do all of that work. I mean, they are silly for seafood. I personally am not that person. I I like crab meat, but I don't want to work for it. I want it already, like in a little plastic bucket you buy at the store,
Hmm.
and use it like that. I'm not one for cracking open food and eating it like that. But yeah, go ahead, Will.
Yeah, but back to reference of this story, my question then comes to what's next? If there is this selective outrage over the air quotations treatment of a crab that's being cooked, what's next when a video is made of someone cooking chicken or something else. Like this to me is opening the floodgates to something that it doesn't needs to be, you know. But I understand the overall sentiment. It's just lost on me how this is such a thing. I would be more um, understanding of their stance in the event that the person that was actually preparing the crabs was like laughing and mutilating the crabs as they were cooking. That would be a totally different situation entirely.
She
But
was laughing. Didn't you say she was laughing, Auntie, in
Mm-hmm.
the video?
She was.
she
Yep.
was laughing.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
That's great. No,
It
that
was,
part is crazy.
right. It was part of the show for her to watch them, I guess, do whatever they were doing, suffer and dying a little slower than boiling. Yeah.
Okay, so that brings additional context. Yeah, so now I understand where the outrage is coming from. That wasn't. Mm,
And one thing I appreciate about animal rights activists is that they actually like they kind of make you realize that you do have a blind spot when it comes to certain. I know me personally, I certainly did because when I saw a few years back, I actually saw PETA outside. This was like when 2010 maybe, and Peter was outside protesting the circus. And I'm like, the circus? How are they protesting the circus? So then one of the girls brought to my attention the mistreatment of the circus animals. And I'm like, oh shit, I would have never known it. I was thinking that, those animals, they just look so happy. And my stupid ass just thought they were happy to be there. And, was fed like, steaks or whatever these lions or whatever eat, after a good show. So I had no idea that the animals were being mistreated. So I saw videos and stuff of the mistreatment, and I was like, "Oh shit!" But I would have never known this had it not been for animal rights activists like this person. So yeah, I do agree that sometimes they can be a lot. They can be an awful lot, but I appreciate letting them know my blind spots. So that's that on that.
Yeah, if you saw how they do animals in slaughterhouses for them burgers we eat, I mean, it's not pretty. People don't
Mm-mm.
want to know about that part. They just want to go buy the prepackaged stuff in the store with the price on it. They don't get to see how these animals die and things like that. So it's not pretty. Um, this actually the treatment of those animals. I think Barnum and Bailey Circus is out of commission now because of people protesting against having lions and elephants, such majestic animals, doing silly tricks for people and how they made them do them. This is totally unnatural, for them
Yep.
to be doing this. So yeah, they don't exist anymore, and I think that's another reason why Cirque du Soleil, people only, and Universal Circus came around with just people in it because of the mistreatment of the animals to make them do those tricks.
Yep. Go ahead,
Which
favorite
one?
tourist.
and I was gonna say I don't like to even see it packaged in the store. I like to see it prepared in parchment paper from the restaurant. So I
That
don't
part.
I don't even want to be that close to it actually.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of not being close to things, our last story, Joy Taylor, y'all remember her?
Yes.
She said if you're religious, she don't want to be close to you. And and you know what? I hear you, girl. So I just shared a link from Vibe. Joy Taylor says religious men are a dating red flag, at least for her. And remember, honey, with this whole Christo fascism movement going on, I am here for any story that combats that. So, sports commentator Joy Taylor has stirred conversations surrounding dating preferences as she recently shared that she considers men who are religious to be a red flag. Taylor, who's 38, shared her take during a recent appearance on Paul Pierce and Azar Faraday's podcast, The Truth After Dark. During the conversation, Taylor shared that she is less and less interested in religious men after having experienced issues dating uh, those who led with their faith. She then addressed her own religious background, saying she is a person of faith and was raised in the Baptist church. However, she doesn't consider herself religious and sees it as a red flag when seeking a partner. I don't think that's just because you're a Christian that you're not living a good life, she explained. I'm just saying, if that's the first thing you bring to the table, it's a red flag for me. Not saying that if you believe in God, you're a red flag. I also don't give a fuck. So tell somebody else about it. Pearson shares that religion helped him out of some dark places in his personal life, with Taylor then questioning if it was religion or faith. To me, those are two different things, Taylor offered. Believing in God, having spirituality, having a connection with your spiritual side, praying, all those things I do. But to lead with, like, let's go to church on Sunday, she added, putting her hand in a stop gesture. And then they have the video of the interview in the article. So yeah, right. I agree with you, Will. She ate that, honey, because
Yeah,
that is a red flag for me as well.
definitely.
Go ahead, favorite Taurus.
Yeah, I definitely think it depends on context, Auntie. So like I understand like religious purposes are very misogynistic and oppressive towards women, you know, and it's also the one thing that's never really stood right to me, especially as a queer person of color that is. It's like many of these religious institutions have been the foundation of why so many marginalized folks were harmed.
Mm-hmm.
And when I came to that realization, or even adopting that religion as a primary faith was done out of force and torture. If you do your Googles and do your research, as those who are listening, so that within itself is just very, it's very alarming. You know, it still boggles my mind. Even though people are going to cling to whatever it is that they need to feel comfortable about navigating through life, that is completely fine. You know, but for me in my household, hello, like look, there's a lack of acknowledgement of humanity in all of it, which is not very conducive to like many healthy environments, and we're seeing it in real time, especially of course talking about it from like a westernized society and the state of the country United States at the moment, and the Christo fascism that Auntie likes to point out as well. So but no,
Mm-hmm.
I totally agree with Joy, and I didn't have awareness until now about the story, but yeah, she ate that.
Yes, indeed. Go ahead, Chili.
I think the number one problem with religion is that it's administered by men and some
Wake it
women,
up.
and people often have very um, hidden agendas when it comes to religion. They're manipulators. A lot of them are predators. This is the field that they can go into and have access to whatever type of person that they're looking for, man, woman, or child. So this is the first problem. Having a personal relationship with God and praying, as she says, and exploring your own spirituality, that's where I am. And I think a lot of people are, because religion as a whole, it's a grift for a lot of people. They want to get money. They want to, the church to buy them a car and live rent free and pay them a salary. And, you know, all of these things attract people who are not the best characters. Now, of course, that's not all preachers, but trying to find that one needle in a haystack, because so many of them are of that ilk, it turns people away from the church in general. I don't care what kind of church it is, what kind of religion it is, it's very widespread. So, yeah, I agree. She ate that.
Okay, Joy. So you continue to eat, girl, because yes, you ain't. She is absolutely right, and she should say it. Well, y'all, that was all the tea that I had for us today. So before I send you all on your merry way, did any of you have any tea that you want to share, or any tea I might have missed? Oh, go ahead, favorite Taurus.
I have a story today that I found quite interesting. So, as many of you may know, Tina Knowles is currently on her book tour, promoting her book and also um, talking about it as well. And she recently had a stop in Houston, Texas, naturally, and so it was moderated by her daughter, Kelly Rowland, and special appearance was made by one Matthew Knowles. And so I actually really love that she's doing this, and I wish they were publicized more so that folks who weren't able to attend were able to kind of listen to the conversations and gain context as well and promote the book. I naturally I got mine. Mine was signed though. It was signed. Thank you very much. But part of the what I wanted to present today was actually the sit down part of the sit down with Matthew Knowles, which is great to see them together after so long. and and so Kelly was giving him his props about how he would demand respect in the music industry based upon like his track record, because naturally it speaks for itself. And the man went on to say that he demanded respect from folks, and then he threw Kanye's name in it as well. And then Mama Tina was trying to get him to stay quiet because, as some of you may know, Kanye had some very distasteful things to say about his grandchildren, and so there was a whole big discourse online about it. Like, well, he shouldn't have said that. Well, considering that these are still people at the end of the day, and those are his grandchildren. And Kanye West has been known to say other things as well about Beyonce and her family for a number of years, nonstop, unwarranted, mind you. But I just thought it was funny because he said it with all his whole chest and 10 toes down. So if you all want to engage with that, I put it in the jumbotron as well for a good chuckle that I
Oh, oh yes, baby. This has been bookmarked. I will be watching it immediately after the show.
had. But the funny thing
I'm
is,
in a
Tina.
little late. Oh, I'm sorry.
Right. I was like, the funny thing is, Tina's. Uh oh, I'm getting. What's going on?
Go ahead.
Okay, okay, sorry. But the funniest thing after he said it is Tina's reaction to what he said. It was just hilarious, hilarious. Okay, go ahead, Miranda.
Thank you, Charlotte. It was hilarious. I almost couldn't make out what Kelly said, but whatever it was, he definitely was 10 toes down because he repeated it twice. He wasn't playing. He want the smoke with Kanye. And Tina should know because she said in an interview that Matthew still don't play about them. Period. So that was it.
Of course not. That's his. This. I mean, the pinnacle of his creation. Of course, he doesn't play. And Ye is just talking out the side of his neck. How you gonna talk about somebody's children? It's
I mean, he said some. I mean, that's pretty bad for you to say that you shouldn't have had kids with Kim or something to that nature. He said, and I was like, oh,
he said that.
I mean, okay,
I think
you
that's
didn't figure that out after four. I mean, after one, you had like four of them.
I think she should have had kids with him, but hey,
That part, and I don't even like her,
right.
but, but that was probably the worst mistake of her life. Not even the
Yeah,
sex tape was the worst thing.
it really was. And then the thing about what he said to Kim about not that won't even bad. I think what was worse is that how he was calling it's one thing to talk about your own kids, but to talk about somebody else's kids and then gonna call them the R word, and then what he say? He thinks that Sir and Rumi are the R word or some shit like that. That was just real, and that's what why Mama Tina like actually kind of spoke out and stuff, but then she kind of didn't. It was a whole. This man Kanye needs a good old fashioned ass whooping. That's what he needs.
He really do, and it's sad because he has not been well since he stopped taking his medicine. He has not had a sane moment since then, and that's years. He has literally been on the manic end for years, and if it goes down, can't tell because only time he's out in the public is when he's manic, and it's unfortunate.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, favorite Taurus.
How do I say this? Um, I just wish he was less visible. There it is.
I think that was just such a
I think that
classy
was just such a
response.
classy response. Thank you. Thank you. I
Turn
try.
your
Thank you.
mic
I
off,
try.
Miranda.
I agree. I agree, Miranda. He needs to be less visible. And I mean, however, less is minute, smallest way possible.
Yeah, we all wish that, but every time he opens his damn mouth, some blog is publishing what he says, and I think if they stop giving him that platform, we'd all be a lot better off.
Agreed. Well, thank you for that, Will. Like I said, I'll be watching as soon as the show is over. I have bookmarked it already. And did anybody have any other tea?
Just a small little thing for Charlotte. Um, the 25th through the 28th, I will be there. The 28th, I've been leaving early in the morning. And the 27th is the concert. So you think about those other two dates if you would love to link up.
Don't say
Well,
too much, girl. Remember, this is a recorded line.
that's right. Yeah, yeah.
That's all I'm saying right there. That's it. That's all.
And I will say to you, Miranda, is noted.
Okay, we'll chat offline.
Yeah, y'all do
Oh, and guess who's gonna be with me?
that.
Who?
Partner.
Actually, almost, but he lost that privilege. Anyways,
Oh,
pivot.
uh-oh.
So Orlando.
Not Orlando. I'm going to just leave that right there.
Tell me stop it.
Okay, girl. Okay.
Look,
Well,
Amen.
girl,
That's
you have
somebody
fun
needs
in
to.
Orlando.
Well, I might still be by myself because I don't necessarily want to
it ain't happened yet,
bring
right?
him on. I don't need Charlotte read me for filth. I don't need that pressure in my life.
Oh, you know what's gonna happen.
I don't want the smoke. I don't want the smoke.
Boy. Yeah, you might want to stop the recording, Auntie.
Well, yep, I think you're right. So, y'all, it has been a pleasure. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day to come and sip tea with me. Don't forget to email us at auntie@auntiederek.com. Show feedback, all that good stuff, more tea. We will be back tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time if you all can make it. In the meantime, you all have a fabulous rest of your day.
Hold on, Auntie.
You too. Smooches.
Regine left. I thought they had a comment. They asked for the mic, but I guess they realized the show was over. Anyway, thanks for listening, everyone. Bye.
Bye.